What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Song Game. I'm your host, Megan Lacey. Lyrics have so much potential, y'all. Literally the entire catalog of language at our fingertips. So, how do you know what to include, what to avoid, and how to create depth in your lyrics? Vision is a place that creates imagination in your listeners. And as we learned last week, using images instead of labels helps your listener become involved in your words in a visceral way. That means that they can feel and sense your lyrics in their body. That's really important because our bodies are where our emotions live, and that's what we're aiming to affect in people when we are songwriting and creating art in general. We want to affect people emotionally, so it's best to get them into their bodies when they're listening to your lyrics. So this week we're going to discover a fun tool to bring a little more color into your lyrics. We're going to work with a creative idea I like to call the color prompt. I just want to do a little exploration this week on how to use color in our songwriting to bring our lyrics to life. Color can carry atmosphere, character, memory, and even motion, and it can anchor our story in a world that feels real and lived in. So let's get started. We're going to begin with the use of color as emotional atmosphere or mood. This one might feel kind of easy. I think we've all used the color red to represent passion or danger. But what about when you use color in more subtle ways? Think of your bedroom just before sunrise. Pale lavender light slipping across the wall. What about an orange street lamp through the blinds at midnight? What happens when you change the color to blue, a blue street lamp through the shades? When you set the stage with these color indicators, they rarely need an explanation. In a lyric, they can quietly give your listener access to an emotional space you want them to inhabit. Next, let's look at color as character or identity. I think this one can sometimes be overlooked, but it's a really cool way to use color because we often identify color with identity. For instance, I have a song called Bobby, and there's a line that says, "She rode a red and white roan, blue-eyed pony." All of a sudden, you get the sense that Bobby must be a true blue American. She's connected to the Old West, and she has a streak of freedom. Color can also act as a symbol in songwriting. So depending on the subject of your song, you can use color to deepen the meaning behind the song. So red doesn't always have to mean the same thing, but using it in the context of your song, it can pulse with warning, urgency, or longing. Blue can sink into quietness, isolation, or reflection. In one of my songs, I have a line that says, "In a dream I had, I saw you looking well. Your eyes were like water, pure snow melt." Notice how the color isn't said, it's implied, and with it, the symbol of clarity. Another color tool we can use is contrast. Colors hit really hard in our imaginations when they're paired unexpectedly. Neon pink against a gray sky, or deep green fields against a slate storm. In a song, contrasting colors can reveal some underlying tension, highlight emotion, or draw a listener's eye and ear to the most important moment. Memory triggers are another tool we can use in songwriting with color, because often our memories are not just attached to the event itself, but there's color in them. Actually, I bought these flowers this week, and here, I'll give you. And I remembered one of my very first memories as a child was I jumped off of a swing into a rose bush, and the roses were that color, and the house was bright teal, and I had blood running down my hand from the rose thorns. All of these things are so bright in my memory. And not everyone's going to have the same memory, but we've been in these moments and we're shaped by the shades of our recollection. Color can carry action. Rain blackens the asphalt. Her face goes pale, or the light turns green. Repetition is just another way to think about the use of color in songwriting. A color that repeats creates a thread or a motif and something that your listener can recognize as a theme. And that thread can become a signal of emotional consistency or tension building across a song. So for the game this week, the prompt is just to use color as meaning in our song. Let it define atmosphere somewhere, or let it identify one of your characters, or use it to signal an emotion. And you don't even have to call out the color specifically, but if you have color in mind as you're writing, it's going to help you build more visual and visceral lyrics. If you do experiment with color this week, I'd love to hear about it. Tag us at Inside the Song Game on Instagram. And if you'd like to share a whole song, go to InsideTheSongGame.com and head to the Song Game tab where you can find a submission form. I'd love to host your song on our SoundCloud playlist this week. I really can't wait to see how color bleeds into your song this week, and I'll catch you guys next week for another prompt.